It's your Garcia Diaries.
Welcome to the Garcia Diaries podcast. I'm Bethanie Garcia.
And I am Anthony Garcia.
We are the Garcias.
That we are. Or that who we is.
Oh my god. You can follow us on Instagram at the Garcia Diaries podcast. It's our new podcast page. We post previews for weekly episodes so you guys can kind of hear what's going to be going down in our show before it goes live, and then we'll also let you know when the show's live.
Wait, we have a podcast page?
Yeah.
I was unaware. Make sure I go follow that. I'll follow that right now.
Yeah. And then you can also follow us at the Garcia Diaries and at Sir Garcia Diaries.
But I'm pretty boring, so don't follow me. Once again, thank you guys for your support. I want to start off with a couple of people specifically from Instagram who show major love to us. Shout these people out. So, you know, if you reach out to the Garcia Diaries and you reach out to myself, who knows, we may shout you out on the podcast. First one, Adrena with 3 A's. She's always showing love, always responding.
She's so sweet.
And I think her and her husband, her boyfriend, listen together. So you guys rock. Another one who's been showing love even before we had a podcast. Be Baby Ever.
What?
So that's
Let me see.
Yeah, Be Baby Ever.
Baby Ever. Oh, yes.
Baby Ever. So shout out to you and your family.
No, I recognize her handle. She's so
keep showing
sweet.
love. We're going to keep giving love right back. Couple more here. Pico Baby. Mm-hmm. I think that's a small shop, right?
Yeah.
So we got small shop showing love. So thank you guys.
You guys should check out her shop too. It's at Pico, P-E-C-O Baby.
And that's not even sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored. But we have a few of their things for Bronx, and it's so cute.
Amazing. And last but not least, this one is a long one. So yo.londa.not.yo.mama. So thank you for showing love. Showing up that Instagram handle, man. So once again, thank you guys for the love.
So this past week, well, first of all, we finally got our glasses and we can see. We didn't know how blind we were until we actually put these glasses on our face and could see clearly for the first time.
I'm not even sure I like the glasses though, because like the depth perception is really weird. Yeah, so like we were walking and I tripped over a curb that wasn't a curb.
You really did. It was funny.
So,
at Santan Mall.
I don't know that I'm gonna make it out alive if I continue to wear glasses.
No, so in the middle of the night last night, all of a sudden Deuce is like burning up and I'm like, babe, does he feel hot to you? And he's like, wait, that's weird. And he literally had like a super high fever. So we gave him Tylenol. And then an hour later, so this is at like 2 a.m.
The boy starts puking everywhere.
So then we wake up at like 4 something to him throwing up all over us, all over the bed, everything. And so Anthony hops in the shower with him. I think he threw up in there again. And then we get out of the shower.
Give him some medicine.
And he's laying on the bed,
5 minutes later.
And he throws up again.
Throws up the medicine.
It's disgusting, honestly. Like, there's nothing that gets me more than the throw up. I can't handle it.
And if there's one thing I can't stand is a sick kid. Like, come on, kid.
Get it together. Like, who do you think you are ruining our plans?
Exactly. Why are you puking everywhere, man?
It's not fair.
So that was how our night went. No sleep. Shout out Hannah for coming.
Yeah, my sister was awesome and came in the morning and watched the kids while Anthony, Deuce, Bronx, and I slept in because we were basically up all night.
So that was fun. But a funny thing that happened this week. So probably TMI, but every morning before I wake up and go to my lovely job, the porcelain god and myself, we have a meeting.
The porcelain god?
Yes, the porcelain god.
The toilet?
The toilet.
Ew.
We have a meeting and I catch up on all of the action that happened through the night as I was asleep. So I don't ever check my email on my phone.
Oh, I thought you meant like in your bowels.
No, on my phone. So I check my email for some odd reason, and I never check my email, never. And I got an email from Amazon, and it was a like thank you for placing your order. Here's a confirmation for your order. And it was 20 pregnancy tests. So I'm already dropping bombs and my stomach dropped even further. And I'm like, what the heck? Does Bethany think that she's pregnant? So I'm freaking out. Bethany, everyone's still asleep, so I like can't confront her on it. But I'm like,
confront me.
Dude, there's no... Yeah, because how are you pregnant? Doesn't make sense.
It starts when a man loves a woman.
No, we've been extra safe. I've been extra safe lately. So that whole morning, I'm freaking out because when Bethany has the hunch that she's pregnant, usually it means that she's pregnant. So I'm like, why am I going to quit my job? I'm not going to be able to quit my job anymore. I'm freaking out. And Bethany called me and I'm like, so do you have anything to tell me?
I'm like, not that I know of. So, like, what am I supposed to tell you?
I'm like, are you sure? Are you positive? And I'm just trying to, like, pry the information out of her because maybe she knows something that I don't. And so finally I just say, hey, so are you pregnant or not? And Bethany's like...
I'm like, what? So what are you talking about? And he's like, I saw an email for freaking 20 pregnancy tests. Like, what is going on? And I'm like, you did? Like, that's weird because I ordered them like 2 weeks ago. I don't know why you just got an email now. And he's like, what? Why did you order them? And I'm like, well, like 2 weeks ago, I kept feeling sick every single day. Like, I was so nauseous. I didn't know what was going on. I'm breastfeeding, so I don't have my period. So I have no way of knowing, like, if I'm pregnant or not, you know? So I just ordered a pack from Amazon. And he's like, so are you? And I'm like, no, I would have told you. I didn't think I was. I was just confirming that I'm not.
That's kind of some big info there to share with me.
But it didn't matter.
So I was freaking out because I didn't know if you were pregnant or if, like, you were trying to, like, secretly run your own Planned Parenthood. You know, I didn't know, what do you need 20 pregnancy tests for? So that was our...
I'm, like, posting on Craigslist, free pregnancy tests, come through.
That was my scare of the week, and it probably, I don't know if ruin's the right word, but I was a little scared for about 4 hours Tuesday of this week. So Bethany's not pregnant. Praise the Lord. So also, we're counting down the days. We're officially down to the last week of myself being employed by someone else.
Thank God.
Just a few more days until you are officially my boss.
Okay, well, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little bit nervous about this transition.
You're nervous. I'm nervous.
No, I'm nervous because...
You've been staying home for 6 years.
Yeah, but you've been having an attitude the past few weeks on your days off. And I'm scared that every day is going to be like that.
Yeah, because, like, you know how you go through postpartum depression? I'm going through post-employment depression.
Oh, my God.
I don't know how to handle myself yet.
You're like, my hormones are all out of whack.
Okay, but speaking of fears, I mean, what are some of your fears? I mean, obviously there's got to be something kind of scares you about me quitting my job and staying home 24/7.
What scares me the most is just, I feel like up to this point we've had your work acting as a break for us to, like, kind of take a breath when we're, like, annoyed with each other. And we do get annoyed a lot. And so I'm scared that we're going to, like, hate each other. Also, I don't know, though, because I also feel like when you took off, like, 3 weeks when Deuce was born, when you took 3 weeks off when Bronx was born, when you took all that time off when Deuce had his surgeries, we were fine. I don't know why it just feels, like, annoying on the weekends. Like, by Saturday night, I'm ready for you to go to work on Sunday again.
I think for myself, same thing, is I'm not going to get to go to work the next day if I'm annoyed with you or have exactly that break. But I think if we can just keep ourselves active, whether that be, like I said, I'm going back to school, hopefully come August. If we keep ourselves doing different things, it should, help us keep our mind off of dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just scared that I'm going to realize that I really can't stand you anymore.
Oh my God. Yeah, like when we made the pro and con list, on my con list was like, this could be the end of our family as we know it.
Anything else that concerns you?
That. Just that small thing.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I just want us to also learn better how to communicate in certain situations. And I also really think that you need to take medication for bipolar disorder.
No,
Yes.
I need to get some sleep.
Really?
Really?
That's what's been affecting you the past?
Yeah, I've been tired,
23
man.
years?
It's freaking tripled 23 years. Okay, lately this heat, man, has just been putting me in a bad mood.
Okay, so when you do wake up in bad moods and you're like so rude,
But I'm not rude.
what am I supposed to do to help?
I'm not rude.
Are you serious?
No.
You've been so rude this week.
Because I was rude one day.
Okay, so on that day, what am I supposed to do to help you not be rude?
The same thing you did that day.
What did I
Just
do?
ignore me and tell me I'm being dumb.
Oh. Well, that's annoying to me.
How?
Because I don't want to have to deal with another child.
I'm not a child. I'm a grown-ass man.
No, you're acting like a child when you're like huffing and puffing all around the kitchen and like stomping your feet.
That's not what I do. That is such a lie.
Yeah, you're like,
No, you are lying. So that's the biggest fear. Is our love strong enough to withstand each other 24/7?
Yeah, and I think definitely getting hobbies and then like you getting your haircuts, me getting my pedicures and my lashes. You should like go play basketball or go to the gym, like those things that we can like do on our own. That's going to be important as like our little escape from one another.
I might take up clubbing as a hobby.
Clubbing. Oh my gosh.
We'll follow up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll let you know if we're on the verge of divorce.
A few days away until it becomes super official. We're excited. Last weekend, my family had the opportunity to meet our long lost cousin.
This story is really cool. I don't know why a lot of the things that we go through is like made for reality TV or a soap opera or what's the Spanish term?
Novela.
Yeah, honestly, that's what our life is. But I feel like we really could be on a show or something. So you want to share what happened?
So I've got a cousin.
Apparently.
Well, no, I do have a cousin.
Yeah, no, I know, but we didn't know until.
She's actually 18 years old. She just graduated high school. We were unaware that we had this cousin. If you know my side of my family, specifically my mother's side, we are a tight-knit group. We try to get together at least once a month at my Nana's house.
At least a few times.
But we're talking aunts, uncles, tios, cousins, everyone. 20, 30 people in the house. So we're really close. But
and no one knew except for the mom. Like
obviously.
Literally no one.
But we were actually able to meet her this weekend. She came down from Pennsylvania where she graduated high school. But it's just amazing how we've never met this person and she just fit in. I mean, she's literally her mother.
Yes.
We didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
You know, we met her. Everyone introduced themselves, and it was like we'd been talking to her every weekend of our lives.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely
She's
amazing.
Super sweet, super beautiful, and smart. And it was such a pleasure to meet her.
So
just like to be a part of that also emotional atmosphere was pretty awesome.
It was pretty amazing. So, Lyric, welcome into the family. You are 18, but you're a week old in our minds. The cherry on top of another great week.
So a few months ago, I got this email from Phoenix Children's Hospital. That's where Deuce had both of his surgeries. They basically said that they had nominated Deuce to be the most valuable patient, the MVP of a Diamondbacks game in June. And were we interested in allowing him to do that? And basically, they would give our family free tickets. They would basically come to our house, film Deuce, film us telling his story. They would share that story during the game. They would put us on the Jumbotron. Deuce would get to run the bases. Like, basically, they would just honor him and everything he's been through at the game. And we were kind of floored. Like, absolutely, of course, that was our first instinct. And that's in 2 days, and we are so excited for that game and for him to be honored. And it's just a really proud moment as a parent because he really has come so far and been through so much, and I'm really, really excited.
So we just kind of want to go back, talk about Deuce's story.
Here's the thing. When they came over to film, we had to tell his story, and we basically told it in like 5 minutes or less, and they compressed it down to 30 seconds. And watching it back, I kind of wanted to just really share the intricate details of what we've been through with him, because it really is a testimony of like faith and hope and all of these things combined And just to see how far he's come now, it's pretty crazy because there was a lot of moments in there where it was very dark and lonely and hopeless. And so, yeah. Are you ready for this?
I think I am.
All right. Why don't you start out with 2016, the day Deuce was born?
2016, my one and only son. I love all of our kids. I love the girls, but this is my man. This is my boy. I'm just so excited. And he comes out.
Wait, can I just add in there that when I pictured having a son, I always pictured him looking identical to Anthony. Like, I thought I was going to have a little brown son with black hair, brown eyes, just like walking around looking exactly like Anthony. And he comes out and he's literally porcelain to where we can see his blue veins. Like, it was the funniest thing. He's so white.
So this white thing comes out of you. And right away I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And then he's got a funny looking head.
Yeah.
So not only am I concerned about the shape of his head, I'm thinking, who the heck is this guy? Is this my son? Because there's no way anything.
DNA test, please.
Right away. But, just so happy in all that I finally got a son.
Yeah. So when we did see his head, because that is one of the first things we noticed, because we had 2 kids already and they came out with, not perfect heads, but they weren't deformed. One of the first things I asked the nurse was, why does his head look like this? And she basically said, well, he was sunny side up in your belly. He came out really fast. And so sometimes that can kind of just misshape the head because of how fast he's coming out your birth canal. And it'll go back, or like it'll go to how it's supposed to be in a matter of a few days.
Itself.
A few days, a few weeks. He'll look normal. And we're like, oh, okay, well that makes sense.
Remember, he didn't pass the hearing test.
Yeah.
So they were like running a bunch of tests on him.
Yeah. And then he also didn't cry for like the first 48 hours of life, like not even a peep. And they were like trying to get him to cry. They would like do his shots. He wouldn't cry. When he came out of me, he wasn't crying. It was just like a lot of weird stuff.
So I'm sitting there. I got a white son, funny looking head. Dude can't hear anything. He doesn't make a noise. I'm like, man, this is not what I expected. Maybe it's not going to go the way we planned, but hey, I'm still excited. I got my boy. So we go home 2 months or 3 months when we had the appointment.
No, yeah, his 2-month well check.
2-month well check.
Well, okay, over the first 2 months of life, we kept an eye on his head, and I even remember a few instances where I texted my friend Chelsea, she's a nurse, and I said, hey, like, do you have any knowledge about why his head could still be like this? He's 6 weeks old, and his appointment's, in 2 weeks, but he's now not only has a misshaped head, but he has a ridge on the back of his head that feels like a bone sticking out.
So he can't lay flat on his head.
Yeah. And so I'm like, do you know anything about this? And she was like, honestly, like, I would just bring it up to your pediatrician. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do that. But, and she was just like, yeah, I think she didn't want to scare me. She was just like, ask your doctor. So at his 2-month well check, we ask, and she looks at me and she says, I'm diagnosing him with craniosynostosis, and I'm referring you to a plastic surgeon and a neurosurgeon. He's going to need skull surgery. And we were like, wait, what? Like, what? It wasn't even on our radar. First of all, we had never heard of the condition in our lives. Like, I couldn't even say it. I asked her to write it down for me so I could Google when I got home. And she told me, please don't Google it. Please wait until they see you at the neurosurgeon. But of course I still did. And that was a horrible decision. And it's pretty crazy too, because craniosynostosis does go undiagnosed a lot of times for a while until the kids get older, because a lot of doctors aren't educated on the condition. And this doctor, she used to be a nurse back in the day, like 20 years ago. And she actually used to assist a neurosurgeon in the OR. That's how she knew about this condition. And then she went on to become a doctor. And I'm just like, that's absolutely crazy. She wasn't even the doctor we were supposed to see, because our doctor was like busy with other patients. And so we had her kind of last minute. And it's just crazy how it all came together.
Chance that it was even diagnosed at that point.
Yes. So 3 weeks go by because to get into the neurosurgeon's office, there's a 3-week wait. That was the most excruciating 3 weeks of our life.
Okay, so within those 3 weeks, what were the feelings? What were the emotions running through your mind?
I guess I think it's just my personality type is I don't care if it's a bad answer. I just want to know the answer. Like, I hate being unsure. I hate not knowing what's going to happen. And that's really hard for me. So literally, I felt like there was 72 hours in each day. Every day was so long and just filled with anxiety, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And of course, I'm praying that he doesn't have this condition and that we go to the neurosurgeon and they're like, oh no, he's completely fine. That was my hope. But I also joined a lot of Cranio groups and started looking at pictures and reading stories and talking to other moms. And I kind of knew in the back of my mind, like, okay, his head looks like all of these other heads. These stories are just like his, he has this. And so I kind of just prepared for that.
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Yes, always. That's our motto. What about you? What were you thinking?
Definitely a lot of dark moments for myself emotionally, Every day, asking God why, asking myself why, what did my 2-month-old son do to deserve this?
Yeah.
And we actually went as far as trying to figure out if there's something that we did.
Yeah.
And
I felt a lot of guilt. Like, was it something I did when I was pregnant? I did take anxiety medication when I was pregnant, and I didn't do that with either of the girls. So all of these thoughts are running through my head of, like, is it something that I did? I mean, still to this day, I still have those thoughts that creep in, even though doctors have told me that that's not why and that it's completely genetics.
But, a lot of why. Didn't make sense, couldn't make sense of it, but we went to that appointment, and sure enough, Deuce has craniosynostosis. He needs surgery.
And so then we had to go to the plastic surgeon, and they had to do a bunch of scans and photos because for this surgery, the neurosurgeon and plastic surgeon worked together. We went to Phoenix Children's Hospital to the plastic and neurosurgeon there, got everything figured out. They actually told us that since our pediatrician caught it so early, he was able to have an endoscopic surgery. So when you have craniosynostosis, there are 2 surgery options. The first is endoscopic, where they make 2 small 2-inch incisions, and they go in endoscopically and fix the skull. The other surgery is a cranial vault reconstruction, CVR. And with that one, it's an ear-to-ear surgery. They go in and remove the top of your skull, fix it, put it back in. The second surgery is a way longer process. It's a longer surgery, longer recovery time, longer time in the hospital. So we were really, really pleased that our infant baby son would need the easier surgery. That was really important to us. Did we say what craniosynostosis is?
No, we didn't.
So backtrack a second. Craniosynostosis is a condition in which the sutures in an infant's head or a baby's head or a child's head close prematurely. So when you're born, your skull has little gaps in it that make it easy for the brain to grow as you get older. Yeah, and it's like your soft spots. So Deuce wasn't born with a soft spot. His skull was completely fused when he was born, so his brain had nowhere to go. That's what craniosynostosis is.
So if you didn't know, now you know.
So he had the endoscopic surgery when he was 3 months old.
But we were not happy, but the fact that he could have such a major surgery and he would have 2 small incisions on his head, 2 very small scars.
We were
relieved, because we were thinking long-term elementary school into junior high, thinking kids are mean.
Yeah, of course your mind kind of jumps to that.
Jumps way ahead. So, hey, he's going to have this surgery, but 2 very small scars that aren't really going to be noticeable. Glad that they were able to diagnose it early. He goes through the surgery.
It's like everything was going right for a hard and miserable situation. Everything was going right.
Yes.
So I felt like throughout that whole process, I kept hope, and I kept feeling like, okay, he has these things wrong, but they're fixable. He has these things wrong, but he's breathing. He's alive. And for that, I'm thankful. Like, I always felt hope. I always felt gratefulness, even through all of these trials. Through that process, like, I felt like we could get through it. And so going through that surgery, like, that was hard. Going through the recovery process was hard. And then afterwards, he had to have a helmet, a doc band on for, was it like 8 to 10 months? He actually needed 2 because it wasn't fixing the way it should be. So he had to have 2 different ones, and it was like a lot longer than he was supposed to. But then he finally graduated from the doc band, and we were like, finally, like, this is all over. It's all behind us. Like, we were so grateful.
His head shaped looked normal.
Yeah, it looked good.
You know, the scans were normal. Everything looked great. We thought, perfect, he's got a good shaped head. We made it past this hurdle in our lives.
Now we can just move on and move forward. We were so grateful.
When was that follow-up?
A few months later.
6 months?
I think that was right around his first birthday. And I think we went in because we had to go in for scans every 2 months.
Yeah.
I think 2 months later is when we went in, and it had shown a little bit of regression in his scan. And they were like, okay, well, that's a little bit normal when, you know, they take the doc band off and it's not holding it in place. A little bit of regression is normal, but we're going to keep an eye on it. And we're like, well, okay, like, that's fine if it's normal. We went in for the next appointment 3 months later.
Prior to that appointment, we had noticed that it had started to regress.
Yeah.
And go back to its original form prior to the surgery.
Yeah, it was getting worse and worse every single day.
So we could tell,
yeah,
hey, something's not right. So going into that second follow-up appointment,
yeah, we definitely brought it up.
And
the scans showed that he was in regression.
And so the doctors decided a second surgery was needed, but at this point he was going to need the more invasive surgery, and he would have an incision from ear to ear.
Yeah, and they also wanted to take scans over the next few months to kind of watch the regression path and see how it was growing. And so not only are they telling us our son's going to have this big surgery that we thought we had completely avoided, but we are going to have to wait a few months. And just that, like, anxiousness crept in again. And at this point, I feel like I lost all hope. I had held on to hope for so long, and faith, and all of these things that pulled me through the first time. And it was like my world crashed in because I felt like it was all for nothing. And everything we had done for him to get him through that, I felt like it was for nothing. Then in November, we were told that...
November of what year?
November of 2017.
Yep.
We were told, okay, we're going to have this surgery, or he's going to have this surgery this year in December. Before the year is over, since his deductible is already met, we're going to help you guys out with that.
No. We wanted the surgery before the end of the year.
Yeah, but we were told that was going to happen. But then something happened to where he couldn't get it until January. So it was like, on top of everything, we had met our deductible. Like, we were basically going to be completely covered. Now we're going to have to start over in his surgery. This freaking expensive surgery is going to be in January.
Go through another surgery. But also the financial burden started all over again January 1st.
Yeah. So it was just like all of these things crashing in on us, and it was really, really freaking hard. And I find out I'm pregnant with Bronx. That's another thing added to the whole mixture of everything going on. On top of that, I'm hormonal and my body's changing and I'm growing a human being. So his surgery was on January 27th, 2018. We were in the hospital for about a week. He was in the ICU for 3 days and then a normal room for a few days before we went home. He had staples from ear to ear. His eyes were so swollen that he couldn't open them. So he was basically talking and crying with closed eyes and so confused. It was a few months from his second birthday, so he was, at the age where he was talking almost and like obviously eating full meals and
very
walking
active.
And running and super active, and so it was just very confusing for him.
And that was 1,000 times more difficult than the prior surgery.
Yeah. Especially him being aware
of what's going on. But that was rough. It was very rough to see that. Very heartbreaking to see him and not be able to do anything to comfort him or help him.
He still to this day, he sleeps in our bed, but at that point he slept in our bed. And so they have him in this like cage crib, and
Baby
of course
prison.
he hates it. And so basically we ended up holding him the entire week we're in the hospital. At one point I asked for a bed, and they were like, no, that's not safe. And I'm just like, please, like, work with me here. Like, I remember because I was pregnant.
She was like,
Do you know who I am? I'm the Garcia Diaries.
Oh my God, shut up. You're a liar.
One day I'm going to be all over the news.
I remember at one point, because I'm pregnant, I remember my butt, my arm, my shoulder, my like whole spine was just numb. And I was in so much pain from holding him. Anthony and I were trading off from sleeping, holding him, sleeping, holding him. And just on top of Deuce's physical pain, like our emotional pain, the financial burden, everything. But I will say, my friends, my followers, my audience, our family really came through for us. Like, we had people sending us Starbucks gift cards,
sending us money.
Yeah, sending us like money on Venmo for us to be able to go to the cafeteria and get lunch, just stuff like that. That was so sweet. My friends like bought us dinner several times, just really incredible things that made a tough time a little bit easier.
That much more better. Yep.
Yeah.
But
we do have a great support system.
the two things that helped Deuce kind of come out of it: baby shark and chow mein noodles.
Yeah.
So what, day 4, I went down to the cafeteria.
And to this point, he hadn't had a bite to eat.
Yeah, nothing. But didn't even breastfeed. Didn't open his eyes at all.
Yeah.
But I went down to the cafeteria. They had like a Mongolian grill type deal. Ordered some chicken noodles, chicken chow mein noodles. Came back to the room.
You were about to eat them.
No, I was grubbing away.
Yeah.
I was eating it. He liked Baby Shark, so I'd have that playing on my phone, and it would kind of consolidate him. And I think he smelt what I was eating.
Yeah, something, or heard you chewing.
Said he wanted some.
Yeah.
And
he was like, Papa,
I was
Papa.
probably halfway through that bowl of noodles.
We have the cutest video of Deuce with his eyes shut. He can't open them. He has the plate on his lap, and he's just has his hands in there and then stuffing it in his mouth. Like
and he's not even.
Think that he had been starved for 2 years.
He's not even slurping the noodles. He's just straight.
Yeah, it's
swallowing
so cute.
them whole. But from that moment when he ate some food,
he started getting better and better.
I started to open up.
Yeah. And we FaceTimed his sisters. That's
when he actually opened the eye, one eye.
Yeah.
He opened his eye to see his sisters on the phone.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. Just
once
immediately,
he turned that corner, he started getting better and better every day, and we were able to go home a few days later. And, going home was very difficult because he had staples in his head, and he was still super swollen.
But he didn't act like he just had gotten out of surgery. He was climbing up the stairs.
Yeah. There was a few times where he actually tried to pull staples out. I think he got one of them out.
Yeah, he pulled staple out of his head.
It was disgusting. It was like hard for us too, because we're not sure how to care for someone that has these things, and we're just learning with him. And I don't know, I definitely threw up a few times. He also had a bunch of screws put in his head during the surgery, and like I think it was like 30 to 40 screws. Yeah, and the kind of screws that he has actually dissolve over time.
So if you rubbed your hands around his head, you would actually feel like bumps and crannies and
screws, like pointy screws in his head. And there was a few times where I almost rushed to urgent care because I thought they were going to poke through and actually pierce his skin, but they never did. And the doctor's like, no, that can't happen. And I'm like, are you guys sure? Like, I can feel them. And they're like, no, it's okay. But after this surgery, he didn't need a helmet or anything. Like with this surgery, like you're one and done. It was crazy once the swelling started going down and we saw what his skull looked like. It was like a different head, completely different. And this is it's considered a cosmetic surgery, but what craniosynostosis can do to these kids later in life is horrific. It causes seizures, migraines, in some instances blindness. Like, it's really detrimental as they grow and their brain has pressure on it. And since his brain had pressure on it, it was absolutely imperative that he had these surgeries. And so getting him through these things and getting through these surgeries and getting through these trials and these hard times it really brought us so much closer together as a couple and as a family. And I feel like I was so much more appreciative of milestones with Deuce, and then even with Bronx. Like, I remember crying after her 2-month well check, because after Deuce's 2-month well check, we got some of the most devastating news, and after hers, it was like, oh, well, she needs to gain a few more pounds, but she looks healthy and she's happy and whatever. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, I was so much more grateful to have those boring doctor's appointments where they're not telling you that your child's going to have this crazy surgery.
The whole process definitely helped us realize to not take anything for granted. But looking at Deuce today, watching how he acts, I mean, you would never know. He's gone through 2 major skull surgeries in 3 years of life. I mean, when his hair gets long enough, you can't even see the scars. The resilience from that boy is amazing. Absolutely amazing. All that he's gone through in such a short amount of time, but to still be the loving, outgoing, funny, goofy kid he is.
Crazy.
But him being born hard-headed literally is the perfect example of
his personality,
who he is, because he is as hard-headed as they come. Soft spots or not. But definitely an honor that he's getting recognized by Phoenix Children's Hospital and the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're excited. So, and as far as the skull itself, it has shown no signs of regression. We still go back
every 6 months.
Every 6 months, so twice a year until he's 18 years old. They're going to monitor him, track him, make sure everything sits well. But obviously, we still have those concerns for when he becomes old enough to go to school. You know, how are other kids going to react? So we definitely talk about the scars. We try to make him feel...
Yeah, we constantly show him photos from when he was in the hospital.
And so that way, you know, he'll realize, hey, what he had to go through, these scars are
Something
a sign of how strong I am.
Yeah.
So, you know, definitely putting bail money away, because if any kids make fun of him in school, I'm rolling up there.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, so it's been a tough journey, but we're so excited to be able to honor him and celebrate him on Sunday, and it's going to be really fun.
So today we're going to close the podcast out with a little game I like to call This or That. If you listen to our previous episode, we have a special guest who's going to close this out for me. It is Hannah Johnson, the sister who missed out on her opportunity. How's it going, Hannah?
It's good. How are you?
So, good. So you don't know what we're playing yet, but I'll let you know. This or that. Pretty much, I'm going to ask you this or that, and you give me your answer. Alrighty?
Okay.
And while you're giving me answers, if you think of something you want to ask me, you can ask me as well. So, would you rather have an extra arm or an extra leg?
That's so easy. An extra arm, because then I could do extra stuff. You know, like when I'm cooking, it'd be nice to have an extra arm. When I am cleaning, having an extra hand, like that'd be awesome. Would you rather have an extra nose or an extra finger?
An extra finger, because I definitely don't want to have a better smell of everything. Extra finger. I feel like it'd take my gaming to the next level if I had an extra thumb to...
It's always about the video games with guys.
I can't think of anything. Maybe I could be like a really great piano player with 11 fingers. I don't know. All right. So, Hannah, would you rather get your hair done? We're talking cut, color, polish. Do you polish hair? If you polish hair, perm, whatever. Anything you want with your hair done at any moment for free at any time. So Shelby does hair. If you snap your finger, she's there working on your hair. Or would you rather have that same thing but with manicured pedicures? You can get a manicure, pedicure, get your nails did whenever you want at any time for free. But you can only choose one. So if you choose to get your hair done for free for the rest of your life, you can never get your nails done again.
Okay, so genuinely, the last time I had a pedicure was for your guys' wedding. Like what, 6 years ago? How long have you been married? That's the last time I've had a pedicure. So I could definitely go without the nails and pedicure thing. Shout out to my girl Shelby, who does my hair and keeps me looking incredible. I would love for her to be in my life every day, styling me and making me look bomb.
That is disgusting. So you'd rather have crusty toes?
I don't have crusty toes. I make sure that they look nice and clean, but I don't like people touching my feet. Like it's just one of my things.
Ooh, I'd have to go with the pedicures and manicures. I'm sorry. Do you have anything else, or do you want me to hit you with one last one?
Hit me with one more.
Alrighty. Last question. $100,000 deposited into your bank account right this second, or $1 million in pennies you can never convert to any other currency.
Dang. I feel like that would just be really inconvenient. Like, I'd rather just have the money in my bank account now. Because if I'm in there, like, shopping and I'm, like, counting 1, 2, 3. They're like, it's $600. I'm like, all right, give me 45 minutes to count these pennies out. They would hate me. So I will go with the money deposited into my account right now. That's how much you're paying me to do this podcast, right?
Go ahead and talk to the Garcia Diaries about that.
Bethany.
So you'll take convenience over quantity. Well, thank you for joining us on this first edition of This or That.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for listening to this week's show. We are so excited.
You got it, because no one's looking at us. See?
What?
You got it. Last week you said thank you for watching.
Oh.
But you got it down, baby. You got it down.
Oh, I'm getting better and better at this.
Thank you for joining us again.
Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Garcia Diaries Podcast, at the Garcia Diaries, at Sir Garcia Diaries. It's a mouthful. You can listen on Spotify, iTunes, on thegarciadiaries.com. If you listen on Spotify or iTunes, we would super duper appreciate your 5-star review. If you want to leave a little note for us, that helps people to know when they see our podcast if they want to listen to it or not. So we really, really, really appreciate that stuff.
And continue to reach out. We enjoy talking to you guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
It's your Garcia Diaries.